In the 2016 manifesto, one of the items says, and I quote, we will pursue the construction of modern large seating theaters in every regional capital except Accra, beginning with Takoradi, Tamale, and Kumasi. The government has 4 years to build 9 theaters in 9 regions. May I know what specific arrangements have been made for the construction of the first theater in Takoradi?
Thank you, sir. Right, my name is Christian Ejay Frempon. I work with Onua FM. Madam did not touch on the copyright law, so I don't know if she can do something. What's the specific question about the copyright law? The implementation of the law, of the copyright law, all right? Because now it seems the creative industry is really suffering because there's no law backing them to arrest these people. So somebody can just take your intellectual property, do whatever you want to do with it.
Cocoa Board also has the Jubilee project, which has long been abandoned. So how is this going to correlate with her existing project, which is coming on? Thank you. Thank you very much. Reconciling the various cocoa projects.
All right. My name is Jedida Patrick Anefi. I report for Accra FM. I want to ask the minister, just last week, some youth in the Greater Accra region demanded for a job opportunity in the Marine Drive project. I want to ask, is the minister aware of this? Have they petitioned her officially? And as part of the Marine Drive project, not just beautifying the coastal areas, we also have the chance of creating opportunities for the youth. How will the correlation between the project and job creation be done? Thank you.
Hello, yeah. My name is Godwill Arthur Mensah. I write for the Ghana News Agency. Yeah, I want to commend the minister for her insightful presentation. She did very well. She was very fluent with his presentation. My question is, though you have outlined a lot of issues, and you have heard that the ministry is contributing 4%, 6% to GDP, and when we talk about foreign earning, it's about 4%. So I want to find, we know here how much the ministry generated last year. At least you should let us know the money that the ministry generated. So IGF, not IGF, IGF and other foreigners who came to the country and all other things, so that we know that whether it is truly contributing to 6% of GDP and all those things. Thank you.
I work with United Television, UTV. As a matter of fact, the issue of sanitation along the beaches is not encouraging at all. And I thank God the World Bank has given you money to be able to do sanitation and commercialization there. Please, I want you to tell us, how are you going to do this? To ensure that you ward off people who do open defecation there. The place smells. I've been to La area, I've been to behind Castle, where a whole drain is directed into the sea. And the whole place is always naughty. I believe the ministry must get up and do something. And also, are you aware that the Cape Coast Castle and the Elmina Castle observed a low patronage in 2017 as compared to 2016? What accounted for this? Thank you very much.
I am Nana Kunedajman from Daily Graphic. The question I have is, in 2017, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, came out with a report that entitled Economic Development in Africa, Tourism and Transformative and Inclusive Growth. The report stated that most hotel facilities in Ghana don't patronize locally produced vegetables and fruit from some of our farmers. For instance, the report cited cases where if you go to some of these big hotels, top top-notch hotels, some of the food items they sell are mostly imported mostly imported at the expense of the local farmers. I just want to know what policy the ministry has in place to make sure that the local farmers are brought in the food tourism value chain so that they can also reap some gains.
Thank you very much. My name is Abna from Business Television Africa. I would like to know the steps you are putting in place to charge foreigners who come into our country to show movies, and what we can do to also help them, so that are there going to be policies whereby when they come, they'll be asked to rent the equipment in our country, which will help us to make revenue? I just want to know the steps put in place for this.
Hello, my name is Solis Rose Corte with TV3. What I want to ask is regarding the Film Act that was passed in 2016, basically to regulate activities in the film industry and provide a legal framework for the production and the distribution and marketing of local content. Yes, as Madam was speaking, she did mention the fact that Media General had such a program in terms of Sadia. However, still, for the last year or so, having spoken to many producers, they sing the same song, crying the same cry. They're still having issues with the proliferation of foreign content in our media space. So the question is, how far has been the implementation of this act, which was supposed to curtail some of these issues?
Yes, sorry, my name is Kojo. When the minister was speaking, she made mention again, like TV3 having the Sadia thing showing and all that. But I want to find out, and as much as this is part of the manifesto about the cultural policy of this country, which states in page 32 in television 70-30 policy, what has really happened to the Ghana cultural policy since we had it 2004? Yes.
World Bank and sanitation. As I read to you part of the deliverables under the facility. Please note the facility has not been released yet. It was only announced over the weekend that it's approved. But under the deliverables of the facility, yes, beach sanitation is very key because we are competing with countries in the sector, and our sanitation challenge is actually a turnoff. That is why His Excellency has set up a standalone Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources to focus on revamping and also changing the attitude. What have we done in that arena? I actually was hoping Mr. Kojo Fosu, aka Daddy Lumba, will be here. Next month, as part of his tourism ambassador deliverables, he chose to fight against sanitation. And he's working on the Say No to Open Defecation campaign. He's going to do a massive concert, not only in Accra, but in certain selected regions. He's going to launch his car stickers, badges, a host of marketing to support the tourism ministry to fight the menace of beach and unsanitary behaviors. That is one. So yes, I had actually asked him to be here so he would talk to us about the plans that he has. But we are supporting him as his tourism ambassador project, and it will be unveiled in February with heavy marketing, aggressive marketing, and outdoor concert to promote and create awareness. That is just one. But the second one, which is more policy, is we have signed an agreement with YEA to have youth in tourism, which is the beach patrol officers. They are inking and working on the modalities, and it will be housed by GTDC, our investment arm. So they are in talks. They will get that done, and you will soon see young men and women paroling and patrolling the beaches under the tourism module to make sure that when tourists are seated and relaxing, they are not harassed, people don't beg them. Those social vices will be policed by these young men and women who will be trained in our hospitality school right behind you. The same gentleman had talked about the Elmina Castle and the Cape Coast Castle. There was an increase of 7,000 people to Elmina Castle. Actually, there was an increase in Elmina, and I'm getting the figures from the stakeholders who are the ones who are monitoring. But Cape Coast went down slightly, but it wasn't major. And we know some of the reasons are exactly what you asked as your first question. Sanitation is a challenge. When you go to these castles, that's why I'm saying we've got a board, the newly inaugurated board, doing their asset audit, traveling across the length and breadth. What is not acceptable is when you go to these forts and castles, you don't have a decent eatery or a toilet facility for a guest. And we are embarking on that this year. We have to change the story of our tourism delivery, but you can only do some of these things when you have the funds. So you see that our tone is a bit high because we are getting the support. So hopefully this year the story and our narrative will be different. We will make sure that our major assets are properly spruced up to meet the local numbers. The foreigners, actually, it was high, but it's still not conducive for the traffic that we want. Now, the next one was on a policy, actually brought the Film Act, because it has been passed. It was in 2016, and in the first year, what we were struggling with was trying to get the funds, trying to get the stakeholders to give us, as I mentioned earlier, the film director, Mr. Richard Boatin, I think he's here, embarked. The funding was a bit slow, but we finally got them some monies, and they went to Volta region, and what they found out and what they have, I brought a copy of their research, it's amazing. Imagine if he gets all the 10 regions, we get that data, we should be able to form our film council, because it's in the law that we have to get the advisory board, the governing body, get an authority, and get a film fund. But you can only do these things when you have the data. And I keep stressing that we make decisions in the country without the supporting evidence, and then it falls flat. So we have been very, very conscious of ensuring that we have research material, gathered data, so you have an informed decision. They've done only Volta region, and the 9 regions will come, but we will not wait for the entire 10 regions to be completed before we put together a skeletal film council. The stakeholders are all on board, but I'd like to get at least 3 regions, even 5, before we can constitute a body. This is the first report he brought on Volta region, and I was amazed, very thorough, and it would interest you to know that if you are to support a film production house in Volta region, the market is Togo, Benin, and a portion of Nigeria. They already have a market because the language, the dialect is just a variation, and they understand each other. But most of there is no movie production house in Volta region. There is no distribution or marketing channel in Volta region. And from what they saw, the actors themselves have to sell their movies. So it looks like the structure is a bit weak, and they need our support to make it happen. So that is why the support we're getting from the bank will bring to place. I'm seeing that some of our people saying the report may not be what it is. So, but we need more. But what they brought exposed the capacity that we need to help build. That's just one region. If they bring other regions and a film council is constituted, that will be their work. And they will be able to inform the minister the policy directive. So yes, we are really anxious to get this film council, film fund off the ground, but we can only do it when the structures are in place. So please bear with us. Only one region. Let's get at least 3 or 4 more extra, and we can constitute bodies to work on such important part of our sector. And I heard the culture policy of 204. In our manifesto, we also did mention that we want to do and reconstitute a body to look at the culture policy. I know Mr. Akunodake is, of course, I'm going to count on him, one of the proponents of this policy, the Culture Forum, doing a great job. Culture is dynamic. It's 12 years since the policy was put in place. And I said that during my vetting that I will seek help to reorganize, rewrite, and incorporate new things. Social media was not around in 2004 when the culture policy was written. So bear with us. After our first initial encounter with you, a lot of the soft policies we are undertaking, we will find time within our monthly meetings to share progress report. But yes, it is something on the calendar, and the ministry is very, very much in line with your thinking. It has to be revamped and incorporate new forms of what we call culture. There was also a question on UNCTAD. I have a copy of that book, and I would urge you to all get it online. It's very informative. That is why we initiated the See Ghana, Eat Ghana, and Wear Ghana. I had a meeting, I've had 2 or 3 meetings, the Chef Association, and then the GMs of all the major hotels in Accra, and they want to buy local produce. They can't get enough. And I have to speak it for them, not in support of them, but to encourage farming. Basil, a little ingredient, has to be brought from France. It is, and we have a lot of lands in the savannah. Potatoes, if you go to ShopRite, half of the produce you see on the shelf is from South Africa, and we have arable land. And as a hotel, being a hospitality person myself, packaging, hygiene, and the kinds of things they have to cook for international and local guests has to be up to a certain standard. That's why GTA has the inspectorate division. Standards have to be met. You can't bring cassava from the village and bring it to Kempinski. They will not buy. So we need to support with capacity. But the potential is here, and they are ready to engage us, but we don't have what they want. We don't. And we can encourage small-scale farmers with, again, capacity to produce and to feed this industry. Eat Ghana, and we will push that agenda. If I have missed out question, it was on foreign, the film that you had asked. We are working on getting the structures in place. We are also working on the culture policy, but we will need the support from stakeholders, constituting bodies, so they will help us to bring it to fruition. Sanitation is big, and we will, with your support, encourage Daddy Lumba to take off with this campaign and ensure that people who openly defecate at beaches are given an alternate. We build the toilets for them, and then they will have no excuse to use the beaches. Thank you.
I would like to know the debt accrued at the ministry, and what is the IGF of the ministry.
So you want to know the state of the
financial aspect of the ministry.
Madam, in your address, you spoke very eloquently and deliciously. But unfortunately, you didn't touch on the recently held CAF Awards, where our creative arts industry was sidelined. In your address, you said, and I quote, that the ministry is responsible for the entire creative arts sector. But unfortunately, you didn't touch on that one. We have situations whereby people come into this country, they hold events, and they only give our artists the opportunity to come and sing the national anthem. Then, afterwards, I'm happy my Okoku Mante is here. Some of them were on radio criticizing policymakers in this country, including your ministry. And Samini, one of Ghana's most successful artists, came out to say that they need a legal backing to actually push some of these things. And you said there's an ally that is going to be presented before Parliament. I just want to ask whether you are including this particular situation in the ally. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Abba Samoa. In the spirit of promoting national heritage, I want to know, are we ever going to have a movie on Ghana's Independence Day?
Nigeria is estimated to be the second largest producers of movie in the world, aside Bollywood. It is estimated that they rake in over 250 million because they produce at least 50 movies per week. I want to ask, in 2016, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo indicated that is going to pursue a vigorously government where jobs are going to be created in the creative arts industry, and also work with the private sector to establish or acquire the technology to log in creative works. And if I may give example, I watched a series on Metro TV years back where the story of The Gods Are Not to Be Blamed was filmed. And it became one of their legacies in terms of filmmaking and literary work. We have stories like the story Anansi told, Marriage of Anansiwa, and the likes. Is it possible that this government will open an avenue for filmmakers who can remake some of these literary work and put it on film, so that our students who are studying literature in the senior high schools will not only read them in the storybooks, but will have a film as one of the legacies? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Margaret Sawache from the Vanguard newspaper. Honorable, please, in your delivery, you mentioned that you've discovered 33 new tourism-attracted sites. I hope the Gomoa Ojobi Discovery Stone Center is one of it. And please, there were so many allegations that you said you were going to carry the said stone from Gomoa Ojobi to Accra. Madam, please, did you say that? And in case you did, how are you going to carry it to Accra? Where in Accra are you going to put the stone? How are you going to manage it? If not, how are you going to use that center to boost tourism in Ghana? Thank you.
First of all, before I make my comment, I want to tell the Ministry of Information that the media scape in Ghana is growing, and there are a lot of media houses that are springing up on a daily basis. So if you really want to prioritize this activity, I think you need to give us a bigger hall, so that we won't come here and have to be standing on our feet like soldiers when we are not actually prepared for that. And I think we have to take that into consideration. 2, Uprise Music is a digital store. It's the world's best digital and distribution store. Please, I'm coming. This store, we are talking about the creative industry. The youth can be employed through making music. If the youth make music and they don't have the platform to sell their music, what is the essence of the hard work they did? We have Gamro, Musica, and Co. Musicians sometimes take about 100 Ghana cedi an entire year for the work they do, simply because they don't have any digital platform where they sell their music. So we have come out with the world's most advanced digital store to help the artists, because there are some musicians in Ghana who haven't had an airplay in Ghana, but they are making like £50 a month out of selling their music. Go to my second point. It's about... Relax. Going to my second point. Yeah, I want to ask the Ministry of Tourism. It is only in Ghana where children don't have priority in anything we do. I have never heard anything about amusement parks. The children need to be prioritized. The children need to get an amusement park where they can actually grow and develop. So I want to find out from the Ministry of Tourism, in all they said, I haven't heard anything about amusement parks. What are they doing in order to build first-class amusement parks for the children? Thank you.
When the minister was inaugurating the 3-member Creative Arts Council, she did mention that their main purpose was to gather data and do roadshows in order to inaugurate 5-member veteran to form that council. But on Joy FM last week, she did state that the council was supposed to gather data. But in recent time, we've heard that one Mr. Boateng has been appointed to gather data for the film industry. I want to ask, what's the exact purpose of the Creative Arts Council?
Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, as an intro in my statement, I informed you that perennially it always had the lowest budget. But thankfully, in the first year, I think we made enough noise, and most of you, the stakeholders, spoke well enough. We advocated, and we would like to commend the Ministry of Finance that our first year budget, which was 43 million, that's the budget. We don't get all of that. You get about 38%. We jumped up from 43 to 75. And this year, because we have had our first month of the year doing our press brief, I'm sure, I don't know, but we must be the first one doing this. So they are listening. They will take us very serious and release all our allocation. so we can complete these wonderful and laudable projects. But that has been the story. The narrative was that it was not sourced and it didn't get a lot of financial support. But when we took over, we realized that we need to do a lot with the private sector. If you wait and depend so much on government allocation, a lot of the dreams and vision will not come to fruition. That's why, if you heard in my statement, a lot of private sector participation is being encouraged, and we've done a lot of that engagement. But this year, we have been blessed enough to be given the 16 million capex, which will help us do capital projects. So we are hoping that we'll aggressively talk to the budget director to release all. And thankfully, the bank has also come to our aid. So with and within the modalities of how they disburse grants, we will ensure that this sector becomes, if not number 3, number 2 GDP contributor for the nation. Now, CAF Awards. You need to please bear with us that CAF is a sports ministry activity, and that is what it calls for interministerial collaboration. We were not the proponent of this initiative, but I saw that Ifia was there, Bisakedi was there, and it was an international activity. But going forward, we were also not happy with what we saw. So we will seek more collaboration with the Sports Authority, GFA, and our Creative Arts Council, so they give us the pride of place to even be part of the decision as to who performs and when they perform. So now when everybody has stopped watching TV, then our artists are placed on television. We saw that we were not treated well, and I will not shield anyone. We will seek better collaboration with the GFA through our GTA, because it's an agency level, so they will give our people the right, because we hosted it. If it was done in a different country, then that country's artists should be leading the event. So please, it was not our initiative, so you cannot blame us. But we will take full responsibility and ensure there is better collaboration. A movie on independence. Great idea. We have currently in the country one of our iconic tourism ambassador, who was actually part of the movie that the gentleman mentioned, Mr. Hugh Kwashi, is one of our tourism ambassadors who's in the country, and as part of his visit, he's also looking and deliberating on doing a movie on one of the iconic men in the history of Ghana, Sir William Anton Amo, a great philosopher in the 17th century who is actually and was a Ghanaian. So when you talk about movie, we have such talent who have the wherewithal and the capacity to help us build our people's resources and also support what we can do. Film, by the way, gives more than 250 million. It's 7 billion for Nigeria. 7 billion US dollars, not 250 million. So if we build our industry, we can do the same. After all, they came to learn here. So we can and we should support the film industry. And it starts with the structures. After the law, a film council, a governing body, a production studio, investments into the sector, and capacity building. So our content will be competitive. Now, it looks like I've combined the Nigerian film question, the movie on independence. Since Sir Hugh is in town, we will add this request to see if he can do a documentary on the independence film. Ojobi, no, we have not said anywhere that we are moving the rock. It is a quarry site, and it is the managers on site who called us. I went there to show us the cross, the phenomena, and we moved it from within the quarry site where there was a lot of rock blasting and noise into a park on the same site. And GTA has made the drawings. We're actually going to do a proper tourist attraction around the stone. It is not moving. So for the chiefs and people of Ojobi, you are going to be the host of a tourist site, the phenomena of a cross in a granite stone. That bleeds, actually. When you put water on it, the sense of frankincense and myrrh, that is what we saw when we went there. But I told them we are yet to put it to test by a geologist, because we can't put this to the global world when you have not tested it. So yes, it is a discovery and it stays there. I think the last question was on data gathering. We need to also sensitize our people that the Creative Arts Council is an umbrella body that will support and will give room for other sub-sectors to do data gathering. Okreku Mante and his people cannot do it all. Film is one area, visual art is one area, creative arts is in music, dance. We have so many. The last time Socrates went out, they had 45 different sectors within our sector. So imagine if you have one person running around, it will take us 10 years to get the data. So we are trying to get people on board to go out there and help with the data gathering. They start on November 9th. They can't cover the entire country alone. So he is going to actually constitute bodies, those who want to work on sculpture. So we get a data on those who are doing sculpturing in the country. Fine arts, dressmakers, fashion. So it is a big undertaking. Allow him, support him. And Richard Boatin, what he did, had the tacit authorization from the ministry. So please, if there are other groups in the visual arts or in the film who want to also embark on a different kind of research, please, by all means, our doors are open. Come in and we will give you the terms of reference and you will set off. But let us support each other, especially those who take the initiative to help us with our job. I thank you.
In the field of tourism and in the field of visual arts.
I'm Kwame Afrifa, somebody can call me the youth president. First of all, I think the releasing of the funds to the ministry is very much important to the ministry. So I command the name of Jesus Christ. Let the finance minister release the funds. Let me move on quickly to my question. I know the laws of this country allows hotels to charge daily. But there are some hotels in Ghana whom when you arrive, let's say about 2 a.m., 3 a.m., they charge you what they call early check-in before they charge you the daily money. Recently, I went to Kumasi, and for some reason, I will not mention the name of the hotel, but I'll give it to the ministry later on. I was supposed to be charged 180 Ghana cedi for a day, but they said they would divide into two because I arrived there at 3 a.m., so I paid 270 Ghana. And I want to ask the ministry, are they aware something like this is going on? What is the ministry doing about it? Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm Amoakin David, and I would like the minister to answer this question for me. At the World Tourism Forum, they showed documentaries of tourist attraction sites here in Ghana, of which I think the video wasn't that good. The video wasn't that good. It wasn't current. And if we show such videos at such a forum held here in Ghana to people outside, I think people will still think we are still living on trees here in Ghana. So I think, and even online, we don't have any proper documentary on tourist attraction sites here in Ghana online. The word underlined is proper.
Where proper is defined as?
Where proper is defined as something correct, standard.
Correct, standard.
Yes, if I'm talking about correct, I'm talking about the quality. Yeah, because looking at
Based on ISO or what?
looking at the video they showed there. I was at the World Tourism Forum. The video they showed there was just it looks like a video that was recorded with a phone. I'm serious about the question is, as the minister, I'm just pleading that we need to record proper and quality videos of tourist attraction sites here in Ghana online, so that people will not think we are still living on trees here in Ghana.
Thank you.
Yeah, I work for Joy News. Madam, some clarification. You said that the tourism sector is the fourth contributor to the GDP. Our checks at Joy FM and Joy News, for that matter, tells that is the fourth foreign exchange earner. We want to know if that's an error or it's what it is. And also, yes, she said that on Joy FM. She said that on Joy FM, just for clarity. And also, we would like to find out if you have data, because you're on top of the issues when it comes to tourism. If you can tell us for a fact what contribution movie, music, the lesser known arts give to the GDP. And finally, before I go, Tourism TV. You tell us that the ambassadors are the ones going to run Tourism TV. Today I hear you say the private sector. The last time I heard you said the ministry has obtained license for Tourism TV. I'm a bit confused. And then, if the tourism ambassadors are to run this institution or television, how do I get my content on? Am I to pay for it? Do I receive payments for you showing my content? We would like some clarity. Thank you.
Mike Ebuatin, Adom FM, also known as Mike 2. I would like to know from the ministry that they've awarded a contract to one Richard Boatin. And we would like to know if he is an individual or a company. I want to know the name and the track record of the company. And also, we want to know from the ministry that the deputy minister, is he in charge?
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Pamela Boateng from Spiderly Entertainment TV. Madam Minister, I'd like to find out, aside Ghana's longest running beauty pageant, what is Miss Ghana, are you providing any sort of support to other beauty pageants such as Miss Universe, which has its franchise in Ghana? Because most of these organizers have been complaining of lack of governmental support. And in my opinion, when we represent on the global stage, it's a form of tourism. So how is government supporting? Thank you.
Support for other pageants?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Madam.
Hi, my name is Stefanam Agbobli from Star FM. My question has to do with the Tourism Development Levy. I want to know how much this fund has accrued, also how much has been dispersed since you assumed office, Madam Minister, and then for what purpose and to who? Thank you.
Honorable, our movie industry is dead. Our musicians are suffering. Please, what are you going to do to help revive the creative art industry? Also, you mentioned Honorable Martin Amidu's name. I want to know, what is he coming to do in the industry? Thank you.
Makers are really hustling it out. They do their films, they go to marketers, they tell them, use this face, use that face. They go to the TV stations and then they reject them. And then, you know, they don't know how to live again. They try their best, but nothing is done. There's no royalties to just, you know, help them out tomorrow. I want to know what is the future of these local filmmakers in Ghana. Thank you.
Not an amusement park, but we have other places earmarked for amusement park, but there are spaces for children. IFWA Sutherland Park, in collaboration with the Gender Ministry, is also a joint project that will see a takeoff this year. The same lead consultants are designing it, so we'll have space for children. But yes, as a policy, we need space for children to play, and I totally agree. We also need public spaces for ourselves as adults to relax, read, and have leisure as part of our policy delivery. So it is a very good question. The Miss Ghana story, we have set up a 3-member committee. Mr. Sokri Safo is leading that to get the details. Because oftentimes as a leader, you hear things in the media, and if you are not very cautious, you react, and then you will not be doing a good service. So you have to have a two-side to all stories. He is doing the investigation, getting the information, and once we are properly informed, we will take a decision that will inure to the benefit of the industry. The movie industry is something that I would say, and if you all agree, has really permeated this first media encounter, and rightfully so. If Nigeria can make $7 billion from our sector and only the film, then we as a people will also have to come together and quickly realign ourselves, our monies, our resources, especially private sector, to support. When we do the over-dependence on government, creativity is the one that does not benefit. A movie studio is a private sector initiative. We don't have that. The entire nation, we cannot boast of state-of-the-art movie studio like they have in Calabar, but we can do it. We just need to support the capacity, the proposal writing, and attract the needed investment. So that is on the agenda, to make sure our content is properly housed and done. That's why when I mentioned Mr. Hugh Kwashi being in town, these are the people who can help us even put together a bankable proposal, a project to get Ghana a movie studio. And it doesn't have to be only in Accra. You can have more than one movie studio. If you go to the US, Atlanta is now becoming, Tyler Perry Kingdom is even getting bigger than Hollywood. So you can have more than one because we have a lot of stories to tell. So yes, I will entreat you to support us to build a vibrant movie industry, as the lady asked. But the education, I'm happy the young ambassador of Tosoga is here. He has been mandated to go to all the secondary schools. He's doing that already. But starting in March, he's going to embark on a nationwide journey to do the sensitization of the youth in tourism. It's already an established program called Tosoga, Tourism Youth. And this year, we are supporting them heavily to go out there and do major sensitization programs, recruit more into the clubs, and give them things to do. What we are not focusing on is the visual arts. So when you talk of education in the visual arts, contemporary arts, traditional arts, and acting, a film school, we have NAFTI, but it's only one. The only film activity that I normally attend, and we just went to one recently, was the BSIFF, Black Star International Film Festival. So we can do more of these to bring to the fore and to the global attention the potential of a film industry in Ghana. I'm very much on board, and I welcome your suggestions as to what and how to revamp and reignite our nascent movie industry. It is here, and it can be better. World Tourism Forum video. Young man, I see when you're asking your question, you're being heckled. You're allowed to ask questions. So I'm very happy that you bravely went through it. In his opinion, the video was not the best. That's his opinion. We acknowledge that, and next time around, we will make sure that the digital output is a lot better, so the youth who are now doing a lot of digital things will help. I think the pixels were not the best. It is the way it was projected, not the content. So thank you for pointing that out. And please, the meaning of proper. Kojo was heckling you. Don't mind him. Okay. And my friend from Joy said she wanted clarity. As a ministry, our business is not to be in business. And when we speak, we get it very generic. It is a private sector that we facilitated for them. To get NCA to approve a TV license, an ordinary businessman will really struggle. So we use the muscle of the ministry to support. And we also went into partnership with this entity that it is because the creative sector is under us. We want to ensure that the content that you'll be putting on your TV has our input. So even the consultancy that has to be put in place for them to do the building, the logistics, the machinery, the equipment, we are involved because it is in our interest. That is why I said we have brought a tourism TV. It is not our money, but it is our muscle and our lobbying. So there is a partnership, but our business is not to be in business. We facilitate for the private sector. So that is what we have done. But we can't generally say that, yes, because it will be part of our legacy. We have a tourism TV. And when the content is going to be put in there, we leave that to the consultant who has just been taken on board by the private sector to come up with the modalities. Where would they be located? How do you get your content on? And how do you pay? What do you pay? Those details, we have not outlined it yet. But I can assure you, when they get it in a document, we will make sure a copy is availed to our august friends in the media. There was a question on the legibility of Richard Boatin. He's the director of Film Directors Guild, and we had the opportunity to visit His Excellency, the President. I was accompanied by Mr. Marco Kreku, the Creative Arts Council, so he knows very well who this gentleman is. It is not about his ID, it is about his contribution, and he's the director of the Film Directors Guild. I think he's somewhere here. If he's done something, please come out so they'll see you. We gave him the support because we went to the presidency, and he's a legal entity, not a company, but a leader of an amalgamated group. So this is the gentleman. I hope you all know him. He's not the only one doing any collation. There are other entities. As I said, you can come together Bring your proposal. If it's bankable, we will support you. And we did not pay him. They brought a budget. This is the hotel they're going to stay. This is the car they're going to rent. This is how much they're going to eat. The ministry is not in the business of dishing out money. There is accountability. So when I said, young man, that Martin Amidu said was a jest, it's a word for transparency and accountability. So this is the gentleman we supported with a 10-member team. Not only him, it was 10 people. I don't know their names, but he brought the list and we saw them before they set off. So if anyone has any doubt, please support him. Unless he has any issue with anyone, we will fix it. But work with him, and other entities are also welcome on board. We will give you the needed support to go out there and help with the data collection. Thank you. Richard, thank you. Yeah, yes, I'm working on it. So we've done the movie industry, Miss Ghana, amusement, WTF, Pixel Challenge, early check-in. I will leave that to Mr. Boache. That is the job they do. Gatov president is also here. I'm hearing this for the first time, but we have entities underneath the ministry that are directly responsible, especially the Hotel Association president. So I'll give him an opportunity to answer at the appropriate time. So Gatov, hold on, because it's new and it's good to know. Foreign exchange earner in the country. It is in our budget, and it is just semantics. Tourism comes after gold, cocoa, oil, and the tourism sector. Now we are asking the Ministry of Finance in their deliberation to add the tourism and the creative arts sector. But it is, and this comes from GSS, that when you do cocoa, Ghana Statistical Services, you do cocoa, you do gold, you do oil, tourism is the next sector that contributes a lot to our GDP. So I don't know how it's been confused, but yes, this is not from me. It is from Ghana Statistical Services. But if you still need more elaboration, I can get the GSS document and then we can actually help each other. But I think it's semantics. What do? We support government. How do we do that? By earning revenue through our levies, through our taxes, and everything that we do, and we're creating the needed jobs in the space. Development levy, that is for GTA to respond. So I'll take a breather. If I've missed anything, I will come back at it. But there's a question Gatov will respond, and there is a question that the GTA will respond. They are solely responsible for the collection of a development levy. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Minister. I just have the figures on how much has been collected so far by the tourism development levy, and I'll do year by year. For 2012, when it started, a total of 185,647 was collected. 2013, 3,024,211. 2014, 5,180,328. Cities, all cities. 2015, 8,762,349. 2016, 10,545,633. And in 2017, 11,675,900. So the total funds that have been collected out of the tourism levy is 39,374,091. But as you know, the Tourism Development Fund is for a specific purpose. There are 4 cardinal areas that it supports. 1, marketing and promotion, tourism investment, and that includes infrastructure development, capacity building within the industry, and so forth. So over the years, the funds as they are collected are used for these purposes. Over the last year, for example, the redevelopment of Kintampo was funded under the Tourism Development Fund. The Arctic redevelopment project was funded under the Tourism Development Fund. There was capacity building a training program under the auspices of GATOF, and that was funded under the Tourism Development Fund. The highway project at Gomoa Asin was funded under the Tourism Development Fund, and so forth and so on. So that is the status of the Tourism Development Fund. Thank you. Currently, we have an accumulated amount of about 18 million in investments. When we took over the Tourism Development Fund, there was a loan that had been contracted for specific projects that the projects had not taken off. So we had to go through a process of renegotiating and paying off that loan. But we have 18 million, and we have a newly constituted board that are looking at all the projects. And tourism investment is one of the key areas that we are looking at. Thank you.
Initiatives and interventions. But those initiatives and interventions will not be enough if the culture of appreciation of tourism, arts, and culture is not engineered among the Ghanaian citizen. Yes, we are doing a lot to bring in people from outside, but domestic tourism, domestic appreciation for tourism, arts, and culture is something we must lift up. To lift it up, you, our friends in the media, have a major role to play. I know there are some of the networks that have dedicated airtime for tourism. I see Sky Marshals on some of the TV stations. I see some other programs on some of the platforms. We want to encourage as many of you as possible. If we want to see Ghana, wear Ghana, eat Ghana, hear Ghana, you have a very powerful tool, which is the media, which can help us create that culture. Once that culture is created and the market is strong enough, the initiatives that we are also pushing from this side will bear fruit. We want to thank all of you for making time today to be with us and for putting your question forward. We are sincerely sorry if you didn't get an opportunity to ask your question. Minister, Deputy Minister, directors from the various ministries, I would invite the Minister to give us the closing remarks and then we'll wrap up.
I hope the encounter has been fruitful. I've learned a lot from you, and hopefully we have been able to elucidate some pressing points. In closing, I have 3 points. I need to encourage all the sectors to see the ministry as their own. Please, today was our first ever encounter with our stakeholders, but I need you to use all the medium available, social media, the telephone, email, to be in contact with your sector, especially the leadership. From my deputy minister who's ever present, he is actually very solid and present, and the chief director, to all the sector heads, we are available 24/7 to help you out, meaning 24/7, not literally, but if you send an email at 2 a.m., we will respond the next day. We are here to serve you. We're here to work with you, and if there are any issues that is not clear, please do not hesitate to contact us. It will help us also project a positive image of our sector. As our deputy said, we are the first spokesperson of this sector. The last figures from GSS, 3.5 million people traveled within Ghana, but only 1.3 came from outside, which tells you the potential for domestic tourism is huge, but we can only be our best marketers. So if we eat Ghana, if you see Ghana, and you wear Ghana, you feel Ghana, which is really for the creatives, our music, our dance, then we can actually all be Ghana. In closing, we want the proponents and stakeholders in the creative sector to understand that we are 3 years old, and for us, we are 11 months old as a sector. We are building the structures. We have an office at ATIC. We have a person called Mark Okreku, one of us. We have a budget for them, and they're going to set off, embark on the data collection. No one will be left out. We now have been blessed with a fund. It is not going to be dished out arbitrarily. It has to be backed by bankable proposals and projects, and it will go through stringent measures. We are also working on the copyright law to ease and make sure that piracy will not be an everyday occurrence. We're using technology, working with GTDC, GTA, to ensure that the creative arts gets its pride of place, but we need to have our mouthpiece. And the tourism TV is the beginning. The private entities like Xylophone is there to anchor, and the mobile TV is also there to assist us. Let us all see this new year as a year for the creative arts, for the music industry, and the beginning of a vibrant, robust film industry in Ghana. Together, we shall build a prosperous sector. I thank you.